The fallout from the American presidential debate continues. New polling suggests more Americans, and importantly, more Democrats, are beginning to sour on Biden's ability to carry out the duties of the job for another 4 years. Reggie Cecchini joins us now with the latest. Reggie, tell us more about this polling. What does the new data show?
Well, it suggests that there are some people that may be turned off by the performance that President Joe Biden gave on Thursday night in a debate that has been widely panned by some lawmakers, by editorial boards, by journalistic outlets. Look, the numbers here are important. Before the debate, 27% of likely voters had said that Joe Biden, his mental fitness was either excellent or good. And 90 minutes later, after that group was polled again, the number had fallen to just 20%, thinking that Biden's mental health was in excellent or good shape. And that same polling group also suggested that his numbers fell with groups that he needs if he wants to win again in November. The number when it comes to Black Americans was down by 11 points. The number with people over the age of 65 was down by some 15 points. And again, these are groups that would be essential for President Joe Biden to win re-election in a race that's going to be decided on margins. I think one of the other numbers to look at here, though, are potential undecideds. The poll showed that just 4% said that the debate would, help them kind of change their opinion away from Joe Biden. So while they may not think that he's in the best shape mentally, there isn't a suggestion here that a lot of people are, at least at this point, running away.
Okay, and having said that, there are new calls for Biden to step aside and let someone else run for the Democrats. What are we hearing, not only from lawmakers, but editorial boards?
Right. So look, on the editorial side, this one was big. The New York Times editorial board publishing an op-ed on Friday saying that Joe Biden needs to walk away because it's in the best interest of the soul of the nation. That is a damning condemnation of a president who over the last 3 years has had significant legislative victories that now potentially risk being stained by the debate performance on Thursday. Beyond the New York Times, we've heard from media outlets calling for Biden to step down, and we've heard from Republican lawmakers urging for Biden to step down, and if not, then urging for the cabinet or for the vice president to use what's called the 25th Amendment, and that's to deem the president incapable of doing the job. Look, Democrats tried to do this against Donald Trump after January 6th. It's a highly partisan move. It's never been done in the United States. It's not likely that Democrats would give into a Republican request here, but the fact that this is now being thrust into the mainstream conversation as to whether or not Biden has that kind of mental acuity to stay in his position, this is something that's going to be much more difficult, not only for the White House, but for the Biden campaign to run away from, even though he held that event on Friday in North Carolina and had a demeanor that was starkly different from what we saw on Thursday night.
Okay, how easy is it for a party to switch up a nominee, especially this late in the game?
So it's difficult. I mean, look, the logistics here are nearly impossible. Over the course of the primary campaign, Joe Biden collected thousands and thousands of delegates from each state that he brings with him to the floor of the convention in Chicago in August. Those candidates are essentially bound to him and have to vote for him unless he releases them and tells them to go somewhere else. Then we wind up in a bit of a contested convention here, which would have people come to the floor. They would make their speeches. They would try to get the delegates behind them, and the one who has the most delegates at the end of the night would become the party's nominee. It doesn't mean that it would be Vice President Harris or California Governor Gavin Newsom or Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. It would be whoever the delegates feel is going to be best. But again, that would be something that needs to be dealt with in the next several weeks. Again, a logistical nightmare, but ultimately a decision that has to be made by Joe Biden. And according to his advisors, according to those family members close to him, he intends to stay in this race.
Okay, Reggie, thank you for breaking this down for us. That's Reggie Cecchini in Washington, D.C.